So, Laura, I got something to tell you.
You got something to tell me?
Yes. We used to do a podcast called Queer and Pleasant Strangers.
Used to?
Yes. Well, we might have to change a few things to make it a bit more legally distinct because apparently wizards now own our podcast.
Oh, what, Wizards of the Coast?
No, just some wizards.
Oh, just some wizards.
Yes.
Some wizards own our podcast.
Yes, we were using an Eldritch open license.
Oh, I see. An open podcasting license.
Yes.
We were on the OPL 1.0.
We were on the opal.
Yeah, oh no.
I just thought it was rainbow coloured because I like opal. It's got quite a nice shimmer to it.
Okay.
It's opalescent. It's right there in the name.
And I'm guessing they're retracting the OPL.
Yeah, well, they're changing it.
Okay.
They're changing it, and now they own, all of the characters.
Oh no.
Yep. And all of the skits. Any bit we've ever done, technically they own all of that now.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
So you reckoning we should try and retcon our stuff to be no longer using any of the original branding?
Maybe. I was going to talk to some witches, see if they could help.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're talking about creating their own independent stuff, and we could just shift over to that instead.
Okay.
It's called Ruby.
Oh, fancy.
It's got a Y in it.
Oh, I bet it's not where I would think.
No, it's never where you think.
It's never where you'd think.
Right, it's right at the front.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to discovering what the reimagined version of this show will be.
I love dealing with eldritch forces beyond my imagining.
Indeed. Oh, the deals you must make with them to survive.
Mm-hmm. So it's better than Spotify. Greetings, strangers. That was weird energy. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet Dale, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's probably going to be a short one, because it's been a week.
Short, by comparison.
Yeah, by comparison.
You know how, it's probably not going to be a 2-hour episode.
Oh, look, here's the thing. Usually Tuesday for me is the day where I go, Quoops is recording today, let's get all the stuff done that I want to talk about on Quoops.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made impromptu plans to not be here.
No plans. There were no plans.
No plans.
No plans at all.
No.
You just happened to...
I went on an impromptu stroll out the house and may have stumbled past a protest, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then stumbled down the road and ended up talking on the radio. It was a day.
These things happen.
You know, I accidentally unplanned.
Oh, just tripped and stumbled.
I tripped and
stumbled into a studio.
I tripped and stumbled into a protest and then a studio.
We've all been there.
Oh, we have indeed all been there.
But have you played anything this week?
I played some things this week.
Okay.
I've not gotten around to playing my Playdate games for this week, so I'm going to have to talk about this week's Playdate games next week.
Treats.
It's going to be double Playdate games.
Treats.
Yeah, I'm playing them tomorrow, but I was going to play them on the train today, because the Playdate's so small, it makes perfect for putting in a small bag. But I had other things to accidentally remember to do. What have we played this week? I've been playing a game called Melatonin.
Oh, this is the lo-fi beats to tap a button to.
Yeah, the one that is this week's accessibility is kind of about. So Melatonin is it's got a sort of 2D art style with a lot of pastel colours that is very reminiscent of lo-fi music thumbnail art.
Mm-hmm.
And the concept is that you're just a person falling asleep on the sofa on 5 consecutive nights, having dreams about various things that sort of loosely tell a story through the sort of things that are being dreamed about sort of imply a narrative across these multiple days. But one night maybe you're dreaming about some fairly superficial things. It might be food and video games and shopping, and then another night might be a bit more. You meditated before going to bed, and now you're dreaming about abstract concepts like space and time and mind
And hypnosis.
Or you might be like, I'm having a bit of a stressful day. I'm dreaming about work and working out and dating, and then all the dreams start sort of meshing together.
And also one of the grabby machine things.
Oh yeah, little toy grabby machines. While this game might aesthetically and musically take its inspirations from like lo-fi stuff, gameplay and humor-wise, it has a lot in common with something like Rhythm Heaven or Elite Beat Agents in the sort of more, we're going to have silly concepts for you to do music rhythm along with.
Yeah.
And the mechanics of your music rhythm will sort of change throughout the levels and throughout the world. They might be things like, you start off with a lot of like, just press A on the correct beat, and usually each level will have like a few different beats you're looking out for, a few different patterns. Good easy example, the first level is about food. The food will come at you in a high arcing shot, a medium arcing shot, or fired directly forward at you. And whichever of those is happening will change what timing you need to respond on.
Okay.
Some of them will have more involved mechanics that will be things like you have to use the left and right bumpers, and maybe like one sound effect will clue you in that you have to press L, one will clue you in that you have to press R. Some levels you're having to press the button one beat after the thing appears. Lots of like little shifts in a fairly basic set of mechanics.
Yeah. Something I definitely don't think I could manage, but even the accessibility settings seem like they might help.
So this, I go into more depth on this on accessibility this week, but the short version is that this game has, I really struggled playing the demo for this back last summer. I wanted to like it more than I did. I like it a lot more now these settings are in there. You can have a metronome on at all times, to help you keep the beat. You can have a larger window for perfect hits on notes. You can have the game penalise your score less for slightly too early or slightly too late notes. And you can have a visualizer on screen that is surprisingly subtle. Like, it doesn't ruin the aesthetic visual style the game's got going on. That is just, here's what button you have to hit, almost Guitar Hero-esque, coming towards the point that tells you you've got to hit it. And for certain levels, I found that invaluable in helping me to actually keep on top of what was happening and react with it. It is a real neat little game. It's not super lengthy, or at the very least, if you are good at music rhythm games and only interested in playing through a level once and then moving on, it's probably going to be a fairly short game. But the stuff that's there is really charmingly made. It's very memorable, really nice music. It is amusing and like it is challenging in ways that feel fair and manageable, with accessibility settings that are designed in such a way that they don't feel like they take down the level of difficulty unnecessarily, and just are like, no, we're just going to make the challenge that's there easier to access. I really like it. It's a real neat little game. I've had some real good fun playing this over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
What about you? What you been playing?
Not a huge amount, I'll be honest. I did a bunch more Terraforming Mars digital solo.
Yeah?
I am starting to win more than lose.
Yay!
We played a bit of more tabletop Terraforming Mars.
We did, yes.
And although I didn't actually do proportionally better, but the game did end quicker. So that was fine. Weirdly, we managed to stay proportionally roughly the same distance apart.
Yeah, because we played with some a new board or something.
No. I think we played with all the usual stuff. Oh, yes, sorry. You're correct. A board.
I was
yes.
questioning myself for a second there. I was like, did we not play with the new board?
Sorry, I was thinking of the breakout board. We're not. We played on the Hellas map.
Yeah.
Which, from the Hellas and Elysium... no, we played on the Elysium map, sorry.
We played on a board that had some ice down the bottom.
The South Pole, which is, the Elysium side, which is, So you have to pay more to go on the very South Pole, but then you get an ocean for it, and there's like a bunch of heat to be generated down there as well.
Yeah.
There's like one main ocean that's a big circle of like I think eight tiles,
Yeah.
something like that, which is impressive considering there's only 9 tiles in the game.
Yeah. It was a nice little shift in that it was similar enough to be very familiar while changing up just enough to require slightly different play styles. Like the milestones and the awards on the boards were different. I really lucked out with a very good starting corporation that really helped me get a good head start.
You had this good starting corporation, and you had just incredible cards for card draw and engine going. I did not really get an engine going at all.
You had a really good corporation, but had the problem I had when I had that corporation as well of getting plant production cards.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the plant production cards tend to have quite high requirements on them anyway, like in regards to temperature. And just even with the amount of temperature I had, it just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun to give it a go with new stuff, and maybe one day I will eventually defeat you.
I believe in you.
We will see. What about you? What did you play?
I played some more Hades this week. I think since last Corpse recording, I've started playing around with yet another new weapon that isn't the Gilgamesh fists or the laser gun. I used, I think it was the default spear weapon, which I basically the setup I started using that I really like it if I can get all the pieces of it is put a bunch of electric attacks on my default attack that I can sort of do quick dash attacks if I want to and get lightning arcing around. But what I ideally want to do is have my heavy attack, which is throw the spear. I want to turn it into an explosion on impact rather than throw and then pull back. And give it water effects, and then get the upgrade that makes all of my water effects also trigger lightning effects, because I have lightning on the other bit of my spear, so that I can just be throwing my spear, it does one big heavy hit and then causes lightning to arc off it.
Nice.
And I can just stand in place going bam, 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 lightning, 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 water, lightning, water, lightning, water. When it works, it's a very fun build.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of very specific bits. Like ideally I need the lightning and for it to jolt enemies that it hits, and I need the thing that makes it hit twice with the lightning, and I need the water, and I need the thing that makes the water and the lightning work together, and I need the thing that makes the spear turn into explosions. Unless I have all of it, it doesn't come together as a build until I have a lot of things. What about you? What have you played?
We played a quite mammoth game of Everdell.
Yeah, it went longer
About
than
4 hours.
anticipated. Yeah.
I've never played a game of Everdell that's gone that long. Although I don't know how many times we've played 4-player Everdell. We've played with each other a decent amount. We played a couple of times with our southern friends.
I think it's a combination of playing in 4-player definitely is longer, but also the Newleaf expansion makes the game longer, and apparently those two things just sort of compounded on top of each other.
Yes, and we were playing with two people who have, a really good grasp of that kind of strategy stuff.
Yeah. It was a really fun game of Everdell, though.
It really was.
Everyone was playing very different strategies at very different pacings.
Scores like you've never seen before.
Yeah. We had the two people who we haven't played this with in a while almost had their full city of 15 animals before the first season was over.
Yes.
It was quite a thing to see.
It was absolutely wild, and then their following seasons were quite quick. Because it was okay, I've largely built a city, I'm going to claim all of the events.
Yeah. It was a game of everyone was aiming for kind of different things. It was fascinating.
Never seen the like of it before.
Yeah.
It went on so long, but yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
And then we played some Betrayal Legacy.
We did.
Yes. We had to kind of remember how that game works.
Yes. I continue to really enjoy that game, but also to be reminded that we need to play it regularly and not leave 4, 5, 6 months between sessions because we always forget what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was another I we've talked about this game before, but for anyone who doesn't remember or hasn't heard episodes where we've talked about it, it's Betrayal, a game about exploring a spooky house and then something happens and now one of you is probably evil in some way and you're sort of playing against one of your other players.
So the base game is called Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
Yep.
Or Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, I think is the other one.
Yeah.
There's the D&D themed one.
This is the Legacy game, so it has sort of ongoing elements and things changing and then following the story of a bunch of families.
And at the end of it, you will have your own unique copy of Betrayal at the House on the Hill, and you probably won't have played through all of the scenarios.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I think the thing that this does, that I think it does really well, but I know is not going to be to everyone's taste, and is going to be some people will find frustrating. I find it a really fun challenge. Is having incomplete information in the second half of games about how to do what you're trying to do. Where you're like, I know what my goal is. I have not been given the information I need to know exactly how to do it, and I'm having to watch someone else play to try and fathom out what they're doing, and if that tells me how to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
In, like, trying to be spoiler free, in the game we just played, there was a certain degree of we need some units to be in a specific location,
Yes.
but we don't have any way to move them.
No.
And having to suss out what their goal was, so that we could work out how to manipulate them into where we needed them.
Yes.
And that turned out to be, they need us dead. So, and that seems to be their only win condition.
So we just have to position ourselves just right.
We have to position ourselves in such a way that they have no choice but to go where we want them to go, to try and kill us, try and survive, and then do it again.
Yes.
Which... It's a puzzle in and of itself, and one that I find quite satisfying.
Yeah, I really enjoy that about it. I enjoy that, although it's, like, quite sinister, plays off a lot of horror tropes.
Yeah.
And is obviously trying to recapture a lot of the sort of things, like, we had one that was like, hey, you've got to find all these body parts and bury them, or you've got to, do this particular thing and take it here, or maybe something more is happening and there is paranoia-related stuff.
I still think that the very the prologue mission is, I think, the most interesting and intelligent conceit they've had so far.
I think it was fascinating, but I have also enjoyed all the horror stuff.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy that we're only kind of taking it half seriously.
Yeah.
Like... We're getting very into this thing that we're supposed to be treating with a lot of reverence. To the point where, like, anytime its name is mentioned, it's sort of echoed around the table of name of thing. Yes, name of thing, name of thing.
Yes, name of thing.
To the point where, towards the end of the last game, when I was really struggling, was like, oh my god, am I going to survive? Like, oh, I bless to the thing and do the...
Someone was making jokes about the thing and we were like, oh, it's not
Oh, you've angered the thing.
You've angered the thing.
The fact that we've managed to keep a little diary of whoever survived, you write this little diary about what happened in the story that generation.
Yeah, you wrote from your perspective what the last game you played was like.
Yeah, because potentially you might be playing as the same person like 40 years later.
Yeah.
So that was quite fun. And... yeah, there's been that aspect of it. I've also liked the fact that if you pick up an item that's never been picked up before, there is a possibility that you might be able to add a family crest to it and therefore name it.
I 100%, like, you are the only person who's ever turned over new item spaces.
This game, I got like a new item, like one of my old items and one of a new item that hadn't been unnamed, and I claimed that.
You have like 4 named items already in that deck.
I think I do, yeah. But also, like, we had the sickle that I think was the greenhousehold. And they had named that the unisickle.
Yeah, there's like one thing that you don't own.
I don't think I own the crossbow. Oh no, I do own the crossbow. That's why I'm called Fletcher.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you own all of them but one.
I'm pretty sure there are in other people's things in there. I'm fairly certain.
I think you own a disproportionate number.
I do. I do have the Ladybird book of evil chanting and the what was the other one? Oh, the Fisher Price My First Burial Mask. But yeah, I'm having fun with the just the naming things ridiculously as they come out. And for all the items I picked up, they didn't help me not die by the pond.
Yay!
She who runs past the pond dies by the pond. I died by the pond. But it was okay. Our team won, even if I died trying to make that happen.
Your sacrifice was not in vain.
No, it was in my arteries and my veins and my cerebral spinal fluid, and my goodness, I was all over the pond.
Oh no.
But, we'll see what happens when we come back in like another 30 years, and maybe the curse will be broken. I don't think the curse is going to be broken. I think we've littered that stuff all through the house, and it's only going to get worse. What about you? What have you played?
The only other thing I've played I'll very quickly talk about is I played a bit of Marvel Snap. The mobile TCG that a lot of people have been playing and saying very positive things about, and I had sort of put off and not really gotten into. And I'd had some people asking me some questions about its monetization. I was like, okay, let's have a look. I'll have a look. And the one thing that's a little disappointed about its monetization, which is otherwise, like, at least currently, very fair, is that every day there is a little bonus in-game currency you can get, but to get it, you have to go into the paid real money shop and scroll past a bunch of paid real money items to get to your free daily bit of currency, which is like, it's a little bit of bullshit.
That's a lot of bullshit.
It is purely cosmetic microtransactions. Still bullshit that they're in there, but also like, for a collectible card game, I was really surprised that there was not a way to purchase essentially digital booster packs or buy individual cards. It's not a case of you... there's no randomness to getting cards to add to your deck, and you never need more than one of a card. Because the only way to unlock cards that I'm aware of, at least right now, is play the game. You, by playing, will move up a sort of leveling thing, and you will just get new cards as you level up, but also that will matchmake you with other people who are at that point on the leveling up thing. So you'll be playing with people with the same pool of cards as you, largely. Like, maybe a little higher than you, but, like, very rarely are people going to have access to cards that you don't. Which is pretty well balanced. It is a deck builder themed around Marvel superheroes that works with 12 card decks and a maximum game length of 6 turns, occasionally 7, and I'll talk about locations, I guess, first. So the way the game plays out is that you have a board split into 3 areas, and over the first 3 turns of the 6-turn match, each turn one of these locations will be revealed, and it will do something when cards are played there. It might be decrease the costs of certain high-cost cards to make them easier to play. It might be whoever has the most cards in this location gets a bunch of bonus points towards winning the match. It might be cards that are played here can't be of certain levels. But interestingly, if there's restrictions on what cards can be played in a space, if you play a card in that place before the location's revealed, the restriction doesn't retroactively apply.
Right.
So sometimes it's worth taking a gamble on putting a card on an unrevealed space in case it's a space that's going to limit what can be there and you get in before the restriction.
Okay.
The pacing of the game is kind of dictated similarly to something like Magic the Gathering, where you have the mana curve of, like, you can only play 1 land per turn in Magic the Gathering, therefore, by, say, turn 6, you're probably only going to be playing about cost 6 cards. I know there are ways to get around it, but this is very similar. Turn 1, you have 1 energy to spend on a card. Turn 6, you have 6 energy to spend on a card, unless, for example, a location has sort of changed how that works. So you've got to build your 12-card deck around making sure you have low-cost cards to be able to get out on the board and start doing things in the early turns, but a decent number of heavy hitters ready to throw out in those high-expensive end turns, which, like, forces the deck balancing to be a pretty, like, easy curve to follow. You're largely looking at, I know I need about this many cards of these numbers, which one do I want my cards of those numbers to be?
Yeah.
I understand why people are really into it. I think that the fact it's limited to 6 turns and there is a timer that prevents you taking forever to decide what to do on your turn keeps matches down to like under 3 or 4 minutes, which for a card game like that is like pretty well paced. The mechanic that people are going to love or hate, and like for some people it's going to be a real FOMO builder, and for some people it's going to be really engaging, is if you think you're in a position where... Okay, let me rewind slightly. Whenever you play a game of Marble Snap, you have a resource that is on the line. Like, one of these little cubes is going to be won or lost by whoever wins or loses. If you think that you are likely to win, you can gamble this sort of in-game currency by snapping the cube and going... I think I'm going to win, and I'm so confident, let's raise the wager to 2. So it's now 2 cubes, and if the other player's also confident, they can go, well, I'll double it again, but let's go up to 4 cubes. I'm that confident I'm going to win. And if you are scared by someone's bet, and you're like, oh, you're willing to raise it to that point, you're very confident in winning, you can retreat, you can sort of quit the match early, and not lose that full amount of cubes. So you are gambling on the, like, if I stay in and play this full match, how confident am I that I'm going to win? Do I think they're calling that they're bluffing? Should I call their bluff? There is a sort of poker reading element of, what is the game state on the table and the cards in my hand? Do I sincerely think they have an answer to this board state that is going to defeat me? And sort of playing chicken a little bit with what you think they can achieve with the limited turns available.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting mind game that is not going to be for everyone, because making a gamble and getting up to like 8 cubes or whatever and then losing and going, oh, okay, well, I've got to play again now to try and get those cubes back, I can see how that could be a real problem.
Yes,
but
and not necessarily a good mindset for certain people to be in.
Yes. And the other thing is, like, this game doesn't have a lot of overt push to monetization other than having to go through the cosmetic shop and see the real money cosmetics to get your freebie. But it also feels like a game that, if it gets popular and stays popular, could down the line very easily have more predatory monetization put into it. Like, it feels like they could Trojan horse in worse stuff later once people are invested. It's got that vibe. Good engaging game, but like, bear those caveats in mind. Did you play anything else this week?
Not really, no. It's been a pretty played light week.
Well then, time for this.
Coming up next on Ladies Light Programming, we'll be talking to Esmeralda Smythe about the transes. Now, Esmeralda, you're going to tell us about some very important things about the transes and the awful things that they're doing all the time, all the terrible, just awful things that they're doing, all the badness.
I'm sorry, I don't know who you think you've brought on as guest. No,
That was Esmeralda Smythe, isn't it?
I was here. Yes, I was here to.
You weren't here for a job interview. We've not made that mistake
No.
again.
No. I was here to
yes.
talk about to dispel misconceptions and misgivings about the trans community.
Well, how can you dispel the misconceptions about the trans community? I mean, obviously they're just doing this in order to get into the women's ladies' powder rooms that are desperately trying to get in there.
I very much disagree. Not only is there no evidence that that is happening, but also there are so much easier ways. Like, surely if someone wanted to go do a crime in the ladies' room, they'd just put on a high-vis jacket and pretend they were there to do the mopping or something.
But they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. They're much more underhanded than that, wouldn't they? They're busy out there doing awful things like trying to snatch the children away and commit surgeries on them.
No. Surgeries do not happen on children at all. And no one's trying to force anyone to be trans or encourage people to be trans. We're just trying to make sure that the option's there for people who are trans to get the help that they need.
Where do you stand? What do you say to those who are insisting that the trans people are raising women? Like they're pulling out one of those large oversized pencils from their cartoonish trousers and using the large eraser to literally remove them from the world. What do you say to that reality? That's just biological facts.
It's certainly not a biological fact. Why would I want to erase women and get rid of women? Women are great. Women are so great. I was like, hey, I'm one of them pleased with women. I'm very much a fan of women existing. Why would I want to erase them?
So don't have a big pencil with it.
I do not have a big eraser. I'm not using a giant pencil to erase women from existence.
Have you not been using a vacuum cleaner then? Perhaps some kind of vacuum cleaner, high-powered maybe, and sucking them up, getting them out of society where they can't be heard.
No.
Stealing their voices like some kind of sea witch.
Look,
Not even having the decency to give them legs.
No, I love listening to women. Not the bigoted ones, but women generally, yes.
You're not doing that.
No, sometimes I will actively give a megaphone to women and be like, hello, women, say words more loudly.
And well, well, perhaps I have to think more about my biases. Anyway, thank you. This has been Ladies Light Programming on the BBC.
Coming up next on the programme, we're interviewing Dickinson Jones, ministerial government contact, about the recent changes to the right to protest and strike. Welcome onto the show.
Well, thank you for having me. Of course, it's a delight to have me here.
Well, I wanted to ask you about a lot of people are very concerned about the fact you seem to be sort of striking down on the right to protest and strike and basically do anything that would show sort of opposition to what your government is doing and up to. What do you say to critics who say that you've left them with no avenue to raise their concerns to you?
Bally nonsense, absolute bally nonsense. We've made sure that everyone has a right to be heard, but not to cause, any kind of annoyance or distress to the general populace. People are just trying to go about their days, they're just trying to do their work, and just trying to be good, proper members of society, unlike those lazy, scrounging strikers. Well, we've come up with a new way of dealing with things, and that is the concern receptacles. Concern receptacles will be assigned to every village and town and city, probably several in some of the cities, and that will be a way where people can just leave their grievances there and make sure that their voice is heard and understood by the right people.
And what do you say to claims that have been spreading in from around the country that these new concern receptacles are just shredders with the word concern receptacle written on the side?
Bally nonsense. That would be absolutely ridiculous. You have to, the internet is you've seen the cables that the internet comes through. Very, very thin, and obviously, we can't have a member of the party in every town freely available. Obviously, they have, second and third jobs to get to and money to squirrel away offshore. They can't have... you're going to cut that bit. You're gonna cut that bit.
Not at
Yes.
all, not at all.
Yes, you will. I'll see you hang if you don't. And so you have to make sure that the suggestions are made very small so that they can fit down the internet, the pipes there.
Well, I have one of the concern receptacle here, and there's no pipe going out of it, and it does make a lot of noise while it turns the suggestions into ribbons.
Yeah, well, then the ribbons are fed in separately. That's job creation, that.
Okay, well, this interview, which I will remind you is live and cannot
Delightful,
be edited,
delightful,
it's
yes,
live, is over.
yes.
Thank you for your
I'm
answers.
getting back from my supper at Parliament.
So, what have you put in your eyes?
Again, not a lot this week. I had things that were on my list that I was going to watch and then just didn't get around to them. Have we watched anything together this week? I'm trying to think if we've watched anything together.
We watched the New Orcs Venture.
Oh, we did. What was it called?
That was Grad Attitude. This is the one from
Oh.
EGX 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely as always.
Yes. Someone has lied on their magical CV and now needs you to go help me do all the things I said I did.
Help me do all the things I claim to have done.
Help me fill out my magic CV, please.
I have to help Jonathan the Knight to pretend to have done magical stuff, and slaying of things and such. And yeah, that was a fun little adventure while we sorted out dyeing our
It
hair.
was a fun, silly little time.
It was. Have you watched anything else?
I watched a couple of things on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Are the Yu-Gi-Oh! Time Rules Broken? Magical Hats by MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! On YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the start of a new series that this creator is doing, where they've gotten a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Creators together, and the idea is, here is a topic, 3 of you give your sincere opinions on this, and 1 of you has to come up with a fake take and make it believable, and then everyone has to try and catch who has come up with the fake. That you don't really believe that thing. There was a little bit of some silliness with the concept on the first one, but the topic they were all discussing was time rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically around tournaments and the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament matches have time limits.
Mhm.
And the way that the game works in tournament settings is, if time runs out, you are allowed to play to the end of the turn, at which point whoever has the most life points is the winner.
Mm-hmm.
And that has in some cases led to some kind of shitty play, in that people will sometimes deliberately play cards that aren't advancing them towards a winning game state, but are technically changing the game state, and therefore judges can't stop them doing it.
Right.
To play for time to try and get a win on time. So, like, for example, there's a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That will massively raise your life points.
Right.
Which isn't getting you any closer to getting your opponent's life points down to 0, but it is technically changing the game state and is a legitimate thing to be doing. But if you're losing a match and time is not far from ending, you might, for example, do a combo that is designed to be like, I'm going to give myself 15,000 life points, and I'm not in a position to beat you, but because I have more life points, I win. Which is not
okay.
necessarily healthy.
No,
for
that's just playing the letter of the law rather than the spirit.
Yeah, because, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has rules around, in tournaments, doing things that are clearly, like, let's say you were winning on life points and wanted to stall for time, doing a combo that is going nowhere and it's not doing anything, but it is shuffling cards around and doing things with cards because you're trying to play for time. That's easier to litigate.
Yes.
But also, like, it is complicated to work out what you can actually do about that as the situation, because like, you need to have some mechanism in place to stop games going on forever in a tournament setting where you're trying to get through several rounds of competition, but also, how do you stop people being like that about it? What about you? You watched anything else this week?
I watched the Making of Tron 1982 full documentary on the Sean Dudley channel on YouTube. It's an 1.5-hour documentary about making the visual side of Tron. I say that specifically. It's an 1.5-hour documentary and they didn't mention the soundtrack once. But yeah, it was fascinating about how that was done in an age when computer graphics were largely required to be plotted out from coordinates rather than being able to just go, yeah, I can see this on screen, yeah, I can advance that frame and flick it back and forth and check it digitally. No, you're just going to have to stick it in a computer and render it overnight or over the next couple of nights and hope in the morning that the 600 pieces of information you typed in by hand actually make the thing do the thing correctly.
Yeah.
And all the stuff about the sort of light or the animation style that they had done. Why that sort of light piping around characters and stuff. It was quite a fascinating watch, and I had no idea that came from the same studio that did the Animal Olympics, which I remember desperately wanting to watch as a kid, and I still to this day don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Not all the way through anyway, but yeah, it was a fun thing to look at, the sort of infancy of that level of graphics. A film that couldn't get nominated for an award for its special effects because the Academy said, "Yeah, but you use computers, that's cheating."
Mm-hmm.
That was a time, wasn't it?
That sure was a time.
What about you? Have you watched anything else?
The only other thing I really watched, it was called "Can You Beat Sonic Heroes Without Jumping" by Meaty Jesus. As the name suggests, it is a video about attempting to beat the video game Sonic Heroes, or at the very least the Sonic Tails and Knuckles portion, without jumping or flying at any point. And the interesting logistical questions that come up around what counts as a jump, what counts as flying, and how can you break a game beyond all recognition. It's fascinating watching people do like no jump challenges, going, okay, what can you discover about how this game works that you can just hope and pray will get you past problems?
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
We watched the on the No Pun Included channel, the Myth of Vagrant Song, Board Game Biographies Episode 2.
Oh, yes.
About the history of hoboing and some of the sort of characters and elements used in the game Vagrant Song, because we got this as a UDP, a late UDP gift. I was like, I swear I remember somebody doing like a breakdown about the things around this game.
Yes.
So it's interesting to sort of go, and what actually was that? Now that we had it in hands, and learning about things like the history of Haint Blue, and some of the language used to describe the ghosts or the haints in this game, and where that comes from, and the sort of history around the way people were treated, you know, post Civil War and such, and the history of people riding the rails and so forth. And...
Yeah, it is a really interesting video about a game that has such a mixed response to how it deals with real world people and issues and topics.
Yes.
And there are things that are really interesting about it, and things that are like, oh yeah, you know this is a thing, but you don't know enough or didn't care enough to use it in a context that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you've taken aspects. You've just gone, oh yeah, that's either related to riding the rails or the concept of hoboing or hauntings, but also not quite got it. Very much in the vein of somebody who might say something along... A white person who might say something along the lines of, I want to get dreadlocks because I think they look cool. Not because I understand anything around that.
Yeah, it is a really well-made video. It's very well put together.
Yeah. Very often very insightful is the No Pun Included channel. I like that they do lots of very interesting things around the subject of board games that a lot of channels don't really do. They just go, here is a game, we reviewed it, we liked it or didn't like it.
Yeah.
And they will go much more into the in depth with here are some possibilities about, you know, cultural stuff that you might not know about. Oh, that's real cool.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you watched anything else?
I did watch the first episode of Pokemon Journeys, I forget what the sub-series is called. The final 12 episodes of Ash and Pikachu before they move on from them as protagonists. The sort of little mini-series. And it's really nice seeing they're very clearly trying to do a love letter to longtime fans of the anime. you've got Ash's voice actor singing the Pokemon theme tune, singing the "I want to be the very best like no one ever was" in character, and I feel like we might be gearing up to Ash finally catching a legendary Pokemon for the first time.
What?
Also, there is the implication that perhaps Jesse and James and Team Rocket might, as I had been suspecting and telling people I think might happen, might carry forward into the future series without Ash and Pikachu.
Yay!
They've gone to the Paldea region, which is going to be the setting of the next anime. They have encountered the box legendary from Scarlet.
Oh my.
And had a start of a little interaction. But it's been really nice seeing, like, the story that's unfolding has been very much like getting a bunch of Ash's Pokemon that he hasn't used in a very long time from past series, or that weren't on his, like, ultimately stuck with team for the series, have been coming back and getting to do things. It's been nice seeing him use, like, a lot of the backup Pokemon from his team that have, like, presumably been sat in Bill's PC box for a while, being like, nah, let's go on adventures with them for a while. It seems like a nice little love letter, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
I don't suppose we might be seeing Ash's Butterfree come back.
Oh, they heavily hinted at it that we're probably getting a Bye Bye Butterfree reunion, so I am excited for that.
A hi Butterfree.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I think one of that might be it. I think one of the episode titles in this might have referenced Bye Bye Butterfree. So I saw a lot of people going, "Oh shit, Bye Bye Butterfree," response. But yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's about it for me.
That's about it for me.
Well then.
Time for this.
Lord, got any sponsor?
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you live in a flat where you need to be noise conscious?
I mean, not maybe. I do like to be conscious of the neighbours.
Are you in a public space where screaming might distress those around you?
I mean, not at this moment, but sometimes.
Slap this device onto your face and scream into your void about your terrifying fears. Barely any sound will escape. Probably even less than that. There we go.
Sorry, I hadn't turned it up to high yet. There we go.
You have to open the aperture to the void much wider. That's personal silencer.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS 244 and you can get 10% off your personal silencer. Personal silencer, because existential dread doesn't have to inconvenience the neighbours. Exactly. Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi.
So, weaving into bad publicity recently.
What is going on?
I know.
Do we not pay enough for the good?
Well, I mean, look, apparently, releasing rushed game after rushed game after rushed game, on top of having a bunch of news stories about us being terrible, terrible people.
Right.
On top of the fact that we keep crunching our employees.
Right.
And we're making less money than ever with our games. All of this apparently reflects pretty badly on us.
What?
Yeah, apparently people think because we're at the top, it's our fault when stuff goes wrong.
Our fault. Nothing is ever our fault.
Exactly. So I think I've got a pretty direct and smart way to handle this. Pretty on point.
Right.
What if we simply publicly shame our workers and blame it on them? We're like, hey, why are our games not selling more? It's the workers, the people making them.
Yeah, they wanted to not work all the time and,
have
not
weekends and
weekends and time off and reasonable wages.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have any money to make games. And that's why we're, not even announcing games before we cancel them.
Yeah, they should be making games better for less money. Make them better so they sell better.
And faster.
Yeah, and faster for less money.
Right.
Maybe then we'd be making more money. It's their problem.
Absolutely their problem.
you know, I hope you don't mind. I thought this was such an airtight idea that I just pushed it out the door. I sent the press release out this morning. Because there's no way that could go wrong, right? You know,
Perfect.
Okay, I mean, look, it seems like we're gonna have a nice easy day off. Maybe we go play some golf or.
I love golf.
Wait.
You're making the noise. I don't like the noise.
No, I don't like the noise either. Apparently all the staff have walked out.
I thought we chained them to the desks. Or were we just floating that idea?
I think we were floating it. Yeah, it's a little late now, but maybe. Yeah, we gotta. I don't know where they've gone, but we gotta get some chains installed.
Yeah, you are a fucking genius, and those staff, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And
don't worry, we won't let him escape again.
let me assure you, this was not your fault. You are always in the right.
I'm glad that I'm definitely in the. It's their fault for running away.
Right?
Exactly.
It shows the lack of moral fiber on their part.
This is exactly what we were saying.
Right, yeah. You know, this is what happens when you get paid too much, you get too many times up, you start getting ideas that, aren't making video games.
How dare they?
How dare. They are fucking rude.
I know.
So, what have you put in your ears?
Nothing new this week other than
Nothing?
things that have been on while we played board games, which I think you've got the record of because they're in your...
The records!
It's just been listening to stuff I already know very well because either I'm working or I'm travelling to London to stumble into varying events and, there's not a time for new stuff.
We listened to... I think I've talked about this several times before. So on the Lo-Fi Chill Music channel, Aesthetic Song, Adventure Time, Lo-Fi for Witches Only, Lo-Fi Calm Chill Beats.
For witches only,
For witches only. It's 2 hours and 37 minutes of just like lo-fi chill beats that we put on while we listened to, or while we played Everdell.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that came up in the queue automatically was Aesthetic Song, It's Raining, Lo-Fi for Witches, Lo-Fi /calm /chill beats on the Douglas V. Rogers channel, and that's 3 hours and 45 minutes of Lo-Fi chill beats. And they were good.
It was indeed a bunch of lo-fi chill beats.
It was. We also listened to the Root Ambience Music d'Ambiance board game musical. Might have talked about this one before as well. It's also good for the Everdell music.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, we listened to Somebody Dies in This Elevator.
Oh, we did.
We
yes.
did.
We've talked about this podcast before. Short stories that all take place in an elevator of some kind.
And somebody dies in one of those elevators.
Somebody dies in some way, sort of.
Yes, so this is your first experience with someone dies in this elevator.
Yeah, I keep meaning to get around to it and just not really getting around to it.
So this is from season 2. The first episode was episode 2, Returning Home.
Yeah.
About somebody who built a space elevator, or is like primary.
Yeah, it was part of the crew building a space elevator.
Yeah.
Yes, it deals with heavy subject matter. But I think it does a really admirable job of being very, very tasteful and nuanced in how it does it. It was a very beautiful performance.
Yeah, I think that, like the very first episode, I think it covered a very difficult subject in a really respectful way, and I really appreciated that. There was also... Gosh, let's see... Episode 0 I listened to, which is called Natural Causes. And, my goodness, how would I even explain this? Somebody has had a curse put on them.
Okay.
Where they can only say the opposite of what they feel. They can only lie.
Okay.
And they write to this person saying, it would be a terrible thing if you came and spoke to me and came to this city. That would be the worst thing, the absolute worst. I think it would be terrible if you came, and it would in no way please me whatsoever if you were to come and assist me in going to see the leader of this village That would be absolutely the worst thing at all. Yours, in the worst possible way. Please don't ever contact me. Leaf.
Aha!
And this person's like, I'm an adventurer. You know what? I'm up for whatever this adventure is.
I'm
just
up for
wanna-"
whatever the hell is happening here.
And works out that basically this person is saying the opposite of what they mean most of the time. And it is specifically that they can't lie. Like, they can talk about things generally,
Yes.
but if they are asked, like, to say something specific, they
Yeah.
will always have to lie. And
Okay.
and the way they got that curse is quite interesting, and the way that curse might be broken is also quite fascinating, but I don't want to spoil it. That is just a really fascinating story, and
Does perchance someone have to die in an elevator?
that would be telling.
I suppose it would.
We listened to The Flying Chair, which I think was the next one.
Yes, one that, is much less directly and obviously about an elevator.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
It is, it's more abstract in its, elevating device.
It is. It was, also quite just generally... I was less gripped by the story overall. I felt less engaged with it, but I don't think it was a bad story. It was just less...
It wouldn't be one I would recommend people to go, this is why you should listen to this show.
I'd say it was a tough act to follow, to be honest.
Yeah. Of the two, I think if I'd heard them the other way round, I'd have been like, it was some whiplash.
The next two I listened to are called Climbing and Rise.
Mm.
I can't remember which one is which from these. One of them is about sort of one of those death game show type concepts.
Okay.
There's a weird future city where everyone's built on top of everyone else, and somebody's greatest memory is just one day that there was a fierce wind that blew through the city, and it blew all the smog away and all the grit and the dirt that was hanging in the air, and we saw blue sky for the first time ever in our entire lives, and had the first breath of truly fresh air. And basically it seems that the game show is two people fight to the death, and based on audience score of how they feel at the end. One is fully dead, the other one gets to live and go and live in all the lap of luxury at the top. But 2 months from now you will have to come back and do this all again. And it's like defeating the reigning champion who's been up there a while, or attempting to, and basically finding that the game, as it was, is perhaps not all they thought it might be.
Yeah.
They just wanted an experience to see a better life and what that might be like, but they'd never watched the show themselves. They didn't really know what they were getting into. They was just like, my life is so bad that I am willing to risk it just to try and get something better.
Yeah.
It's got that really real 15 million merits Black Mirror type vibe.
Yeah, that was the first thing that jumped to mind. Like, the sort of desperation and turning to a death game thing feels a little Squid Game, but like the 15 million merits feels like that sort of play for our amusement, or your life will never change.
Mm-hmm. Another one I listened to is called Food Sciences.
Okay.
It's somebody who's trying to, basically, put in a bit of extra work. They're in on a Sunday, they're in this building, and they get into a lift with a researcher from a different floor who deals largely in biological stuff.
Uh-huh.
He's a botanist who mainly deals with plant stuff. And, there's a little bit of rivalry between the departments, but he is being introduced to a cow called Bessie, who is a carny cow. A cow that they have specially bred to eat mice. The concept being, what if the cow could survive, famines and so forth, and also be a way of getting rid of pests?
Okay.
What if the cow could do that? Loves vipers, loves mice, and What could go wrong with two people in a lift with a cow on a Sunday?
That is carnivorous.
That is omnivorous.
Yeah.
She does say that it's omnivorous, but next one to listen to is called Depths of Octilio Mine, Octillo Mine,
Yeah.
which is about two people breaking into a mine shaft, an abandoned mine, and one telling the other one the history of the mine while they're going down the elevator.
Yeah.
And stuff happens and I can't tell you, but that is a really fascinating story, and I won't go further into it. And the last one that is currently available is called Mourn the Slaughter, which I'm probably going to go into slight spoilers on this one, is just a fascinating concept of there's a sort of a dandy, and he's currently being held in a lift with obviously one of those sort of shutter gate lifts you might find back in history, and he's not being given any food for 6 days.
Oh no.
The only thing that is in there with him is a live chicken, which the people holding him there are feeding. Basically, he has done wrong to one of his captors. They're both vampires.
Okay.
He wronged one of his captors, and he's talking about how he's a genius and how he's always right and he's done all the best things and he's been terribly well educated and this and that and the other, and how he's basically superior in every way. And just basically he's like, I'm going to die in here, I'm going to starve, it's going to be terrible, and you're awful monsters you are. And they said there is absolutely a way out of this cage. You just have to stop thinking about yourself, and you will find the answer to this puzzle. We're giving you a fair and fighting chance. And I will tell you off recording what the solution to the puzzle is, if you like.
Okay, sure.
But I'm obviously not going to say it for spoilers here. But it is a fascinating concept, while also telling like this story of class and the concept of who is the real monster. Obviously, comes up all the time, and you know, good and evil, right and wrong, and people who insist that by their education or their class or where they were born or in what conditions they were born, they seem to see themselves as superior when they very much aren't. What about you?
I think that's all I've listened to, really. I've not had a listen heavy week. Again, Tuesday's usually my listen to some new stuff day.
Well then.
Look at this.
Oh, so they've got you on those drugs, have they? Yeah, got you on those highly addictive drugs, have they? You know, you're getting your fix every day now, are you? On the NHS, getting your fix on the NHS,
Wait,
is it?
what drugs are these?
You're highly addictive. Well, I've heard about you. You know, you went in and you told some sob story or whatever. You make some up, and then they just give you drugs. And
No, I'm sorry. I literally don't know what you're talking about. What was this?
yeah, you know, the highly addictive drugs you're taking. You know, and you do it and you take them, and you know, always. I suppose you're craving, clucking for more. Is it? Oh, yeah, that's what the kids are saying.
What drugs for what thing?
With your made up ADHD thing.
Oh, my ADHD medication. I'm really sorry. I completely forgot that existed. I'm pretty sure I forgot to take that today.
With that very dangerous high.
Oh, sorry, yeah, very highly addictive. Very,
exactly,
very addictive.
yeah.
I definitely don't forget to take them, like, almost a third of the time, just, like, completely and utterly forget, and then get to, like, 4 in the afternoon and go, oh, shit, I was meant to have my meds, that's why I've not been... Because, see, the problem is I forget to have them because they help me remember things, so until I've had them, I don't remember that I have to have them. And then I have them, and then I go, oh, shit, I was supposed to have them.
A likely story. Yeah, so got the new maps for Call of Duty. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Like the new version of that map from 2016 that everyone really
Oh.
liked. That they've just done it in slightly higher graphics, and now there's some kind of T-Rex for some reason.
Oh well, that sounds stupid. Let me tell you what I've
Oh,
been. I mean,
yeah.
look, I'm sure it's fine, but
Well,
let me tell
the
you about.
graphics are nice.
Let me tell you about
Yeah.
the newest thing I've been playing.
Right,
It's
yeah,
going to require a
yeah.
bit of explaining to get to the game. So
Well,
like,
yeah.
you
Anything more suits, yeah.
I got in on NFTs.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got
I
right
got
in there.
yeah, I got
yeah.
that sort of alligator
Yeah,
JPEG. Well,
yeah.
it turns out they do something now.
All right,
I
yeah.
can-
So, I
yeah.
was like, that's just money, innit?
Oh no!
Now it's money that does stuff.
It's money that does stuff. So
Nice,
like
nice.
my bemused alligator JPEG
Yeah.
gives me access to a bedroom pass, which I
Right.
can use during the 3 weeks in the middle of March
Right,
to
yeah.
play the new bemused alligator game
Right.
called Come Crusaders.
Oh.
Where
Right.
you've got to have one of the NFTs to get the pass to play. Except
Right,
like, only
yeah.
people with the
Course,
NFTs
yeah.
can get the pass, but you could give the pass to someone else, and then if they've got the pass, they could use it to play. I
Well,
suppose.
yeah, you wouldn't want that. You can't go, funging around the
Well,
place. innit?
exactly. But it's digital transfer of ownership and that what. So you've got like 3 weeks that you can play the game, and it's like
Right.
it's a high score seeking game
Right.
about trying to go and collect mystical crystals from inside someone's urethra. You're trying to go and get the
Right.
magical cum gems.
Right.
Cum
gems, not like kidney stones or whatever.
No. They're special cum gems.
Right.
Yeah, because it's
yeah.
funny, right? Because
Yeah.
cum, you don't usually get video games about that, so it's clever,
No.
right? And like, you got to go and get the gems out.
Well,
and
that
then
sounds like it would be sore though, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
it's-
I wouldn't want gems, in my.
Well, no, well, they're not in mine. They're in the virtual one that I'm going
Yeah,
in the
well,
game, so it's
you know,
fine.
just if that is biologically accurate,
yeah,
maybe I have
maybe it is. I
concerns.
don't know, maybe. Yeah, so
yeah,
so once you've got
I don't
the,
look or touch, that would be,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be right.
So, like, once you play the game, which
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest is basically just glorified Tetris.
Glory
to-
hole Tetris.
Your high score will determine how many funge passes you get, which can then be redistributed to.
Oh, they
unlock-
can be funged.
Well, the passes can be funged because they're not
Right.
NFTs. They're just passes you get from the NFTs.
Right,
So you
yeah.
can funge the pass.
Right.
And depending on how many funge passes you get, you can
Right.
convert those into new begrudging alligator NFTs, which are
Oh,
like
right.
slightly different. They're not bemused anymore. They're
Yeah,
begrudging now.
yeah. What's the resale on them like?
Well, we don't have them yet, so I
Oh,
don't know.
right.
So, like,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
part of the subset of people who has a bemused alligator and plays this game and then gets a begrudging alligator,
Right, yeah.
you can then sort of trade that in for cum credits, which might be worth something, unless you are number
Yeah.
one in the world leaderboard, and then you get the golden key that will does something. We don't know what.
Oh, yeah. Well.
So
yeah.
like, that's what I'm playing.
Well, it's philosophical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, what if we were truly the gem in the cum all along?
I mean, technically we were, the chosen one out of all to come, and that's how that stuff happens.
Yeah.
But maybe that is, a statement about the nature of being and non-being, and what it is to be a human being. Maybe we are all just cum gems.
And really, I think this was all of that you read into it was planned from the start and is very deliberate.
Yeah,
and,
so, I mean, it's deeper than we think, you know.
This is the very intelligent future of video games.
Well, this is
right
why
here.
you make the smart investment. This is why I'm working, 6 jobs at the moment, so that I can eventually get my own alligator. I mean, it might not be as good as yours because I hear they've started to run out of the really good ones. I have to get the one with like the beige cardigan now. There's no chance of you getting one with like sunglasses or anything. I've just got
Don't worry. When I've got the good begrudging alligator, you can have my bemoaned alligator.
Oh, that's real nice. That's real nice. I appreciate that.
It's all right.
I mean, by that time it'll probably be like worth 100 billion because it's that one that people knows about, innit?
Well, I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it'll be worth nothing because it's not begrudging anymore. It's not begrudging. That's the new shit. So who knows?
Well, I wouldn't begrudge it either way, mate.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social Justice Warriors.
Social Justice Warriors.
Yeah.
Alright, mate. Oh, alright. How you doing? Oh, bearing up, it's getting real cold at the moment, real struggling to keep warm, but
Yeah, I was outside for a bunch of today, it was real chilly,
Yeah. You been up to much?
Oh, just watching the union between England and Scotland start to fall apart.
I mean, it's been coming for a long time, been really paying attention.
I mean, it's certainly not the start of it falling apart, but this certainly seems like one of the larger dominoes to have fallen.
Yeah, weirdly, of all the things that I thought would finally put the nail in the coffin would be trans rights.
That really wouldn't have been my guess, but I've been watching this whole thing with the UK after 25 years breaking precedent and stepping in to try and stop Scotland passing that GRA reform.
Yeah, we were celebrating, finally some positive change for trans people in at least one part of the UK, and now Rishi's like, whoa, no.
Well, it's a lot of his arguments have been absolute bullshit. There was originally his first sort of talks on the point were like, well, Scottish people can just come down and get a UK GRA before they come down into England. It's a quick, simple process.
That is not the case.
Yeah, no, you are not going to be requiring people from Scotland who are trans to have like an 8-month wait to be able to come and visit the UK. That's bullshit. Then it became like, oh no, it's undermining the Equality Act. It's like, no, the Equality Act has nothing to do with it. The Equality Act, allows access.
You, my friend, do not understand the Equality Act.
The Equality Act is what protects trans people's legal status. The GRA and gender recognition certificates are just like marriage and death, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much just marriage, death, and taxes.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating seeing the UK pick this as the hill to die on with regards to this.
Well, literally, possibly to die on.
Yeah. Well, that's.
I mean, I've wanted to secede from Whitehall for a while, but I think Scotland might be finally getting their way.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, Wales has been looking at this, going, is that the case?
Yeah.
That's how you treat the devolved parliaments, is it?
Well, what I'll say is, like, it's as depressing as it is to see, like, the UK Parliament be so eager to be transphobic that they would potentially throw away their relationship with Scotland over it.
Yeah.
It is really reassuring seeing Scotland be, the GRA reform got pretty wide majority voted in and had like pretty good cross-party support in Scotland. And seeing them go, no, we will fight this. We will fight for our right to pass that legislation. Not just because our parliament should have its sovereignty and be able to make these choices, but because we genuinely believe in, making this positive step forward for trans rights. And it's nice to see a country stand up and fight to go, no, we are going to be progressive and you can't stop us.
Yeah, I mean, and if this is the tip of the iceberg, really, because what else
would they say no to and just stamp their feet about?
Exactly.
The point was surely to show that Scotland are as independent as they need to be in any way, but also have supposed benefits of being in the Union. But I think a lot of people in Scotland for a long time, especially in the last few years, have been saying, well, there isn't really anything.
Yeah.
They've been feeling the brunt of red Tories for years, and there has been certainly a growing movement in Scotland for perhaps dissolving the Union. And obviously I realise that's not universal, and there are further concerns, and it does feel a bit like another sign that the world is falling apart more rather than growing together, as Star Trek would have made me hope as a child.
Yeah, I hope we'll eventually get there, but it's going to get worse before it gets better, I think. But
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I mean,
mate.
I'm just glad to see Scotland fighting,
Yeah.
standing up to the UK on this, because, UK Parliament, it's one thing for you to be transphobic, within your own jurisdiction. It's another to try and stop an entirely separate country from trying to, do things themselves to improve stuff.
Yeah.
Don't force other countries to not be allowed to get better on trans subjects. If they want to improve trans rights, don't step in a way and stop them. That's just bloody malicious.
Well, it was very particularly malicious, especially when we had seen, that there were countries who had self-ID who were accepted, that there weren't going to be any restrictions regarding people coming from those countries, and now they're stepping on Scotland specifically.
Yeah.
It's a very weird move to suddenly change that. Fancy hug, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're very soft.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. New hoodie?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Ah, good on, mate. That is a good soft hoodie, that, mate.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put the kettle on.
Nice.
So Laura,
Yes.
tell us what do.
What do?
What do?
Well, Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. Last week I put up a video about Everstones in Pokemon and how they're basically just puberty blockers, and if you can support, letting a Pokemon hold an Everstone to not evolve, you can support trans people having access to puberty blockers. Yes, that includes teenagers. Which has been really well received and has done really well. Go check that out. I'm
It's a
really
very
proud of
good
that. Other than that, we've got Who Hunts the Whale coming out on February 16th. That's like a month away now.
Yeah.
That's real soon. Tell us about that book and where people can find out about it.
It's a silly and serious book looking at the inner workings of the video game industry and what it's like to realise that perhaps your dream of making video games or working within that industry is tainted by horrible greed, by horrible, greedy, awful corporation type peoples. And that's coming out. But also it's really funny in a slightly dark way. But yeah, and that's going to be out soon. You can get it at unbound.com/book/whale. You can pre-order it. It's also available at other shops that aren't Amazon, so there's that option too. But yes, I can be found at linkter.ee/Janiac, JANEIAC.
Yeah.
And that includes my Patreon, patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. For as little as $1 a month, you can help me justify all the 76 hours of work I do. Busy back.
There's quite a few hours.
We're back to busy times, and slowly trying to crawl back to my 30. I'd love to get back to, I hit 30 once, briefly. It was so good. Those halcyon days. Thank you very much to the one person who subscribed since last week. Very much appreciated.
Yay!
You are making the difference. You're all making the difference, and I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. If you can't afford to subscribe or in that way, then maybe consider giving us a share.
Yeah.
Share our nonsense with someone you care about. So that's everything. Thank you very much for joining us. Laura, will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.